Good, everyone. We're back at it with the All Facts podcast here. I'm your host, Horace McCarr, and we're back with another episode, and we have a special guest. Care to introduce yourself?
Oh, special guest. No, I don't feel like any special person here. This is my good friend Horace. I got to know him a couple weeks ago when I got into the family. My name is Usher. I'm on the Pickering
More
side.
like a couple months ago, man. We've been
couple months ago. Oh yeah, true. It's been a while now. It feels like we've known each other a lot longer, but maybe just a relationship.
just to quote this guy, this guy's my dad.
Yeah, I don't know if your viewers or listeners know, but I have legally, with the documents of Ontario, adopted Horace as my own son. So the news has spread.
Okay, let's not talk about that. Okay. It's recording now. So, yeah, so Usher's been one of my great friends, even though I've known him for like probably 2 months, and I've only seen him in person like a couple of times, but it feels like I've known him for such a very long time.
Yeah, one time was when we were at someone's nikah, and you were supposed to be in charge of taking looking over all the food and raccoons.
That was mine.
Yeah, and then all the food was gone. Luckily, you saved us from the raccoons, though.
There were no raccoons anyway, so like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Somebody who told us that.
I think it was your soon-to-be father-in-law.
Yeah. He's a fun guy. And then
he's a G, man. I've known him my entire life. He's a real G.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I love him. He cracks some like funny jokes. He even has me on Facebook, and we talk a lot about some random stuff and videos he shares. Some once in a while.
Man, who uses Facebook nowadays? I don't use Facebook anymore.
Yeah, no, Facebook is pretty much outdated. Well, no, we can't call it Facebook anymore. It's called Meta. Metaverse.
Meta.
That's a whole new thing.
No, isn't isn't the entire thing just called Meta? So like the thing that owns Instagram.
Yeah.
That the entire thing is called Meta, but it's still Facebook.
So the individual platform's Facebook, but yeah, the entire organization has renamed. So like similar to Google, how they have Alphabet as their parent head.
Yeah.
And then everything else is underneath the umbrella. But anyway, the second time we met was we planned like a haunted house. Yeah, that was a great experience. We'll talk
about that. We'll talk about that later, but right now, Usher and I are huge basketball fans, so we're gonna start off with some basketball talk over here. So, Usher, have you seen a lot of games this season, or if so, like, are you excited?
Yeah, I mean, I have. So I'm in a fantasy league with a couple of my friends. 10 of them.
I'm in 2 leagues.
2. Geez. Okay, well, I have 10 friends, not 10 separate leagues, but I do watch only my players. So currently, I don't have any Raptors players on my team, which sucks because I don't watch a Raptors game. I only watch my players. So when I went this season to an actual Raptors game in the Air Canada Center,
Scotiabank.
I wasn't even watching Scotiabank Arena. You know what? I can never get rid of that.
Same. Air Canada Center sounds so much better.
I know. It just fits. They're changing so many different. Staples Center's now crypto.com. Like a lot of different names are being sponsored. But anyway, so this game that I went to was Raptors versus Cleveland, and I had 2 Cleveland players on my fantasy league. So I was cheering for them, and everybody else in the crowd was like, "What the hell's wrong with this guy? He's coming to Raptors games with Funnel Man. He's wearing the whole Raptors hoodie and everything. I had like the logo right here, all the sign that
you should have said it. It's for my fantasy. Then they would be like, "Oh yeah, it makes sense."
No, they're still hating on me, man. They're still hating. They don't get it. The fantasy points are important to me. I need to be first this year, even though we have no money in this. But it's always bragging rights. Bragging rights. That's always good. Anyways, so I haven't watched that many games, but Philadelphia, I've been watching Joel Embiid play this season. He is currently, it's crazy. The entire Philadelphia team, at least like 2 weeks ago, they had the COVID vaccine or the COVID restriction. And that's been affecting a lot of the players this season, like especially Kyrie Irving, a lot of them that haven't had their vaccine taken. Like that's a huge thing. And Toronto, I think, just recently told them told the NBA as well that they're not going to accept any of the players coming in, flying and playing into Toronto.
I think there was one.
Unless they
I
have the
think it was
vaccine.
Utah. I think Utah, or no, or it was Memphis. Memphis is not. They don't care about the vaccines anymore.
They don't care about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's just major metropolitan areas. I don't know if Memphis counts as one of them, but even New York, I think is saying the same thing. Yeah.
New York is saying the same thing.
Crazy. Yeah. Well, obviously Kyrie's there, so he's not allowed to play, right?
Yeah. Also, yeah, Usher's a huge Raptors fan, and you got if you've heard this podcast from a very long time, you know that I am a Rockets fan. And the season's not that great. I do like the way all the youngsters are playing, but I don't like how the way the coach is doing with the team, and the team is like on pace to only win like 5 games this year. So.
Well, Christian Wood has been playing pretty decent, I think, this year.
Yeah,
I don't know. I have
Tate
on my team. Tate is pretty good. I don't know. He's more of a streamer type of player, but I don't follow that much of the Houston Rockets. Eric Gordon's pretty good though.
Eric Gordon is pretty good.
Yeah.
I want him gone just because I don't think he should be spending his final years on this rebuilding team. Like he does bring that veteran leadership, but I want him to actually contend. They go on a contending team.
I don't know if the Rockets are going to be contending this year if they're rebuilding.
I know I said I want him on a team that can contend.
Oh,
so like I want him traded. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I haven't been following.
Yeah, they're on pace to only win 5 games. That's actually insane. Like that's
what's their record right now?
It's like 2-13 because they lost to the Knicks yesterday. And they were winning they were winning by a lot actually.
Who's a coach for Rockets?
Stephen Silas. He was the guy. He was an assistant coach for the Mavericks. That's why Luka Doncic became so good because of him. He even gave him praise. But then he hasn't been good as a coach so far.
Maybe it's just a different type of player mindset or something he has to kind of get a little bit used to. I know Luke Walton just got fired. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, Luke Walton. I just got a notification on that, and I'm happy.
That's crazy.
I actually like some Kings players. I love De'Aaron Fox. I like Tyrese Halliburton. I like.
He had a lot of talent on the team.
I like Rashawn Holmes, but Luke Walton is literally taking this team down. They lost like 7 out of their last 8 games, and now they're 6-11. That's actually insane.
Yeah, I think they're not last, but they're pretty much at the bottom of the NBA. That's crazy. Because they have a lot of talent in the team. De'Aaron Fox, especially, he's supposed to be kind of like an all-star.
He had a rocky start, but he's getting up there.
Yeah. That's cool. But it's crazy. I don't know.
Yeah, so that's really all I was going to say something, but so what do you think about the Utah Jazz? They're currently 3rd in the East, or 2nd in the West, I think.
2nd in the West. Wow. The Jazz are playing pretty well. Rudy Gobert is killing it. This guy's a fantasy beast. But yeah, just in general, he's getting a lot of minutes out there. They also have good bench players as well. Jordan Clarkson's on there as well, and he's been killing it.
Did you forget about Donovan Mitchell?
Donovan Mitchell, what can I say? That guy's always a beast. He's killing it every single game that he plays on the court. This guy's a different type of player. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, the Jazz are a team, right? I know they can win a lot of games because last year when they were number 1 seed in the West, I was one of the few people that would say this Jazz team is legit. They can actually have a shot at the championship. But then when I saw them against the Clippers, I saw Rudy Gobert becoming a liability. Quinn Snyder was not coaching really great. Then it just tells me this. I can't really believe in the Utah Jazz yet until I see more of them. Because if they still have this team, they still have the team D Mitch, Rudy Gobert, and they did add a lot of depth pieces like Rudy Gay and stuff, but I just have to see more from the Jazz. If Donovan Mitchell, I feel can be that championship number 1, but he's not. I don't know if he's there yet, but we'll have to see later in the future. But I have to see more from the Jazz. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, I think Rudy Gobert coming back into the lineup as well. I don't know. I think he's still a bench player at the moment, and he's probably
he is.
I think so, right?
Rudy Gobert is getting paid. Rudy Gobert is getting
not Rudy
paid
Gobert. Rudy Gay.
Rudy Gay. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. He coming back. I think his last game was pretty good. I'm just gonna check as well. His stats are pretty decent. I think he got 20 points, a couple threes in there. But I think him coming back into the team makes it a little bit more solidified, right? Rudy Gay, yeah. He was a liability on the Spurs.
Yeah, he was. He was.
He wasn't he wasn't a good player on that.
Yeah, shout out to this. I have like two players on the Spurs, DeJounte Murray and Keldon Johnson on my fantasy teams, and they've been
Elton Johnson's
doing
good.
pretty good. They've been doing pretty good.
Yeah, yeah.
DeJounte
Let's
Murray
see.
is like one of the great defensive players in the year. Like, actually, speaking of defensive players of the year, Gary Trent Jr., your Raptors guy, he's been tearing
Holy,
it up.
this guy's been stealing every pass. I don't know what he's on. Somebody should do a drug test on this guy. Gary Trent Jr. is a beast on his own too. He's probably one of the vital players on the Raptors. Getting those essential plays with the steals in the offense, running that court, especially with Scotty Barnes on the team as well. I think they're a great duo together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're excited for the future?
I guess like the three. I think the future of the Raptors are in good hands. Now Pascal Siakam, that's a conversation that we do need to have. I don't know if he's.
I remember when I first met you. Like the first word you said to me, "I want Siakam gone."
I know. I think we should have Siakam gone. He's not. Last year in the playoffs, we kind of saw the true lights and his colors came through. He's not trustworthy, I guess you could say, to make the final plays. And he was paid crazy for someone that's not able to actually hold the team together. And as a star player on the Raptors.
But with Siakam, when Kawhi Leonard was there, he was able to play good, wasn't he?
He was, but I think he needs that caliber, like star caliber player to assist him in making himself great. Otherwise, on his own, he's not that type of player.
That is true.
Scotty Barnes, I could see developing him into star caliber player. But right now, what we have as a team, we have that cohesiveness when Siakam is not playing, I think. OG, Freddie, Gary Trent Jr. Achua should be gone as well. He's not worth it. Honestly, that trade was pretty bad.
Well, yeah, you lost Kyle Lowry.
We lost Kyle Lowry for Achua, and who's the other guy? I don't even like him. Dragic, yeah. I mean, he's good as a player, but he's not. You don't see the passion that he had when he was playing on the other teams before. On the Raptors, he doesn't have that.
So
you gotta have passion when you play with the Raptors. You know, every play, every possession is you feel it in your heart as a Raptors fan. That you get tense, but that tense
that's the culture.
And, stress is part of the game, especially as a Raptors fan. Yeah, it's part of the culture.
But okay, so you know the NBA, in the NBA, there's a lot of surprise teams, right? There's always going to be something surprising. The Wizards and Bulls are second. The Wizards are second in the East, and the Bulls are third in the East. Do you think these teams are legit?
I don't know about the Wizards, but oh man, for sure the Bulls. They have the three greatest players. I think front end players like DeRozan. First of all, he is tearing it up from what he was in San Antonio to what he is now in Chicago. He's been making threes, first of all, which is crazy. I've never seen this guy make threes on the Raptors.
Last year he had an underrated year. Like he was really good.
Yeah, he was underrated, but this year you can kind of see like he's shining into a very, very crazy top 10 player, I would say, in my opinion. Especially with the addition of his threes. Yeah, I think it's a pretty comfortable ask of him to continue his trend like this. With Zach LaVine in the mix as well, and Lonzo as one of the greatest 3-point shooters and assist defenders as well. Yeah, he's that three duo is actually probably the top in the NBA right now. Because I don't see Kyrie coming back. Oh yeah, and dang, I forgot about him. That was a great addition from him to go from Magic into here. His production's been pretty good as well, I think, in Chicago. But I haven't been following along with the stats recently. But yeah, I just know DeRozan has been killing it these days.
With the Wizards have like one of the greatest depths in the NBA, right?
Who do they have?
They have Kuzma, Dinwiddie, Beal. They have a pretty good team, like the all-around team. And I believe their coach is who was their coach? I think his name was Wizards coach.
Beal last year was amazing. Let's see.
Wes Unseld Jr. Well, he's been coaching pretty well, and I don't really know. Like, okay, you said you don't really know if the Wizards are, because yesterday they did beat the Heat, and the Heat are definitely like contenders, I'd say.
Yeah. They definitely
Oh yeah,
are.
they also have Dinwiddie. I
Lowry
forgot
to the
about
addition.
Dinwiddie. I forgot about
Yeah,
Dinwiddie. But with the Wizards, I have to see more. Just like the Jazz, I have to see more from, because these teams that are the Jazz and Wizards are teams that have great depth. They're teams that have great
yeah.
depth, but then when it comes to like when the lights shine the most and it comes to one final play, you're wondering what can they do? And I feel like I have to see more.
Mhm.
For the Bulls, I would say, oh, because what before the season, I was kind of shaky on the Bulls. I'm like, how are they gonna fit with these? Not like with the DeRozan, Levine, and I'm like, because for me, I normally think of fit as like an overstate. It's an over exaggerated statement, because people will say like, oh, how do these players fit together? There's only one ball, but like at the same time, I feel like the players know that there's one ball, so they'll definitely figure something out.
Yeah, and it's not like these are selfish players. I know comparing these three guys to, let's say, for example, Russell Westbrook, right? Russell Westbrook is a high usage player. He needs to have the ball in his hands to be productive. Without the ball in his hands, he's not going to be able to produce. And
Mm-hmm.
he's a little bit of a, I've been hating on him this year, and a lot of my friends know it as well. But I don't think the fit, like you mentioned, is great on the Lakers. But with these DeRozan, Levine, Vucevic, especially, and Lonzo, these guys are all pretty unselfish
It's
players.
just,
They sometimes they're selfish too.
I think it's just a culture change of it, because, and I think Billy Donovan is
Mm.
their coach too. Billy Donovan is known as a great culture changing coach. So I think with
Okay.
the that's how that's how the Bulls are be able to tear it up this year. Contenders, I'm normally a guy that likes to have to see large sample sizes of teams and like players, especially. So in order
Mhm.
for me to actually say like, okay, yeah, this team is really good. But with the Bulls, I feel like they could be, but I just have to see more
I
from
think it's pretty
Levine.
safe to say,
And
yeah. I think it's safe to say that these guys are going to be contenders for a championship this year.
because I don't think they're better than the Nets. I don't think they're better than the Heat. I
The Heat have they have a weapon. They have Kyle Lowry, and that's something that has completely changed their gameplay. I think, in my opinion.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
well, I don't
Raptors
know.
fans
Have you
love Kyle
seen
Lowry.
Raptors fans love Kyle Lowry, and Heat Miami has been going crazy after them after Lowry. He makes
Yeah.
the plays a lot more fast paced, especially from what I've seen this season as well. His game, his attitude towards fast breaks has really you know improved the gameplay for Miami. And I think it's a great addition with Jimmy as well because they're kind of like friends or buddies. There's a lot of controversy between that trade, saying that Lowry was kind of coerced into it or they had conversations before the trade deadline or whatever. Um, but I don't know. I think it's a great addition. I think they're pretty elite championship contenders as well.
Would you? Okay, the thing is, the Bucks. I feel like the Bucks are also better than the Bulls, but the Bucks are at the eighth seed. But at the same time, it is early on to the season, and I do
Yeah,
like
the
large
Bucks are the
sample
Bucks. They
sizes.
have
So
Giannis.
I'm not gonna really gonna say anything. But let's move on to the West. And
Mhm.
you said you've been hating on Russell Westbrook this year, right?
Yeah.
So
What's your
what do you
take?
think about the Lakers? So what's my take on it? I
Yeah, let's go
think
with you.
well, I think LeBron was injured, so he wasn't playing like the past couple
He had
games.
some
But
abdominal issues. Yeah.
yeah, but I think what the main concern with this team is just number one, the spacing is kind of bad when you have Russell Westbrook on the team, and
Hmm.
two, Anthony Davis, you don't know what you're getting out of him. That's the one that also like a big problem I've seen with the Lakers. Like, although they have LeBron and Anthony Davis, that those are like two
Hmm.
top five players when healthy. Like, I don't like you don't know what you're getting out of them, because LeBron, he's getting older, so he's gonna be more injury prone. Anthony Davis is kind of this walking stick. Every game he plays, he's gonna get injured. So,
Well,
and
this season has.
Russell Westbrook is a really good floor raiser, but then the Lakers haven't been a pretty good team of spacing, and their coaching is subpar. But
Yeah.
I think even they're still going to make the playoffs, and they're still going to be like a tough team to beat, because you have LeBron James and Anthony Davis.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this season has proved, at least for Anthony, that he's played every single game. So that's pretty amazing from this guy.
Mm-hmm.
He does get those game time decision calls, but overall, I think Anthony Davis has proven himself to be pretty pretty reliable player on the Lakers. He gets almost the same stats every single game, a couple of blocks here and there, and his production has been pretty good while he's on the court.
Yeah, his production has been pretty good, but we just don't know how this.
Carmelo Anthony has been a pretty huge surprise on the Lakers. This guy's been making those critical shots and clutch plays at the end of the fourth quarter, even before that, to be honest. But in my opinion, at least with LeBron James, you kind of know what to expect from him. Regular season, he's gonna be kind of normal. He's gonna take it easy. When the playoff comes, he goes into this aggressive, competitive mode, and that's a scary LeBron. You don't want to face that guy in the playoffs. So yeah, they are a contender team, 100%. There's no doubt about it.
Is that
LeBron? This guy's gonna come back. He's traumatized all Raptors fans across Canada, so we can't really.
And then once he left, he won the
championship. He's one of the top players, yeah.
And once he left, he won the championship.
Exactly. Well, yeah, that's true. But Russell Westbrook, man.
You can go on a rant. I'll allow you to go on a rant. I know you probably have a lot of things to say. I'll let you go on a rant.
I just want to rip this guy into pieces, man. He's made me so frustrated. The first game I watched him, I was just curious because I'm like, okay, this is Russell Westbrook. He's explosive, this guy's a crazy fast player. He can he gets buckets, but most of the time if he's shooting and even if he's like not even guarded, he's just open, he bricks it. This guy is he's unreliable. He's not as well, he's still explosive, but he's not, I think, as he doesn't have that court vision that he used to have. I think when he was with OKC, and the star players around him, he needs to have the ball to be productive, like I mentioned before. With LeBron James and Anthony Davis, you gotta pass the ball to those two guys, And the Lakers in general, they don't have depth in their team. Like, who do you have? THT. He's been played one game or two games and he's been good. Caruso they lost and LeBron's been crying over him.
Kuzma they lost and he's been playing well in Washington.
Yeah, I mean they just ruined their team. I think if they kept some of the key players like Caruso and Kuzma.
The thing is, Caruso I would understand why, but Kuzma it made sense for him to leave because when you think about it, right? When you're a guy, a young player, especially like how Kyle Kuzma was, Brandon Ingram, Julius, when those guys were there. Actually, no, Julius Randle, not really. But when you think of those players, when LeBron was on their team, they had this huge burden because they're like, man, LeBron's on my team. So if LeBron's on my team and if I play bad, I'm going to be rumored to being traded a lot. I'm going to be rumored. I'm going to be the scapegoat and everything. So it deals with them mentally, right? And then once they're out of that, especially Kuzma, he went to Washington, a team no one really expected to be great. And then now he's been doing really well, yeah. And same with Ingram. Ingram did the same thing for New Orleans. And Lonzo too. Yeah,
now he's tearing up in the ball. That's crazy. I guess that LeBron effect.
It's the LeBron. I think the same thing will happen to Russell Westbrook. But the thing is, Russell Westbrook is a veteran, but
he should know.
Well, you said he's very explosive and things. He should take like a sacrifice because what happened with Kevin Love and Chris Bosh when LeBron went to there, right? Those guys were able to take sacrifices and be like that third star. So when Chris Bosh, when he went to with Miami, DUA'd Chris Bosh and him, right? Chris Bosh said, okay, I'll sacrifice not scoring 20 points a game. I'll only score like a bit, but like I'll be a good defensive anchor for the team. He went to Kevin Love. Okay, I'll just be a spot up shooter because I know how to shoot threes and exactly, you're LeBron James. You love.
Yeah, he needs to realize his position in the court. And
I think LeBron should take the sacrifice.
No, definitely Russell Westbrook because LeBron is actually going to be able to make some of the plays, right? Westbrook is kind of selfish in that sense. I watched one of the games. They were down by 3, fourth quarter. They had Carmelo Anthony who was tearing up that game, got so many threes. Anthony Davis was open. And this guy just comes and does a pull-up 3, and he completely bricks it. And just you could see the faces at the end of the game. Carmelo Anthony was just pissed off. He's like, man, I was open. You could have passed it to me. I could just see that's probably what he was saying in the locker room. And then Anthony Davis, he's just like complaining to, I forgot his name. I forgot one of the players. He was complaining to, I think maybe Dwight Howard. But yeah, he's like, what the hell, man? You could see on the camera, like he was just like, I was open. I was underneath the net. I could have gotten a dunk with a foul, easy play. And they had time. And Russell Westbrook just took a selfish shot when he had the opportunity to make a good play. So I think he still has that. He feels like he has a confidence to make I guess be the star player on the Lakers, but he needs to realize it's not his team anymore. He needs to take a backseat a little bit and let LeBron James and Anthony Davis run some of the key plays.
It's funny because like I'm also in the same boat of you. I cannot forgive Russell Westbrook because back in his OKC days, in the 2017, he robbed one of James Harden's MVPs, and then in 2018, and 2018, yeah, what it really did, the Thunder lost against the Jazz, right? Then 2019, that trade happened, or in 2019 offseason, the trade happened when they sent Chris Paul to the Thunder and then Russell Westbrook to the Rockets. At that time, I don't know why. I don't know why I thought it was a good trade, but now I'm like, what the heck was that, man? Because of Russell Westbrook, they had to trade Clint Capella, and then that kind of ruined the team. And that made James Harden and him want to leave. So
yeah, I think he was low key last year, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but low key, man. Not a days goes by where I just think of that, and then it's not like I want to see Russell Westbrook succeed. I want to see him succeed. I hope the best for every player, right? But he's not really making me think that he can be that guy on a championship team. So not that guy, just contribute to a championship team in general.
Yeah, and I mean, I think in the beginning of the season, I wasn't giving him any slack, but a lot of my friends were like, "Yo, listen, it's just the first couple games. You just need to kind of find their groove." Lakers, and
I still think it's like that because it's only been like 20 games. I think
it is.
As time
still like that,
progresses,
especially with LeBron being out as well for that long of a period with his abdominal issues or whatever. He needs to kind of settle in as well, and yeah, they'll find a groove. They'll definitely come back stronger. So that's why they're still considered a contending team. Otherwise, the way they're playing right now, I don't think they would be. But I know for sure the fact that Russell Westbrook, once they find their groove, they'll be great. LeBron James is going to come back and he's going to tear it up. Well, he's already back, but he's definitely going to be tearing it up for the next couple till playoffs for sure.
So speaking of like the Lakers, right? What's another powerhouse we all know? The Nets. The Nets are first in the East, but I still have them as my championship favorites, but what do you think?
Yeah. I think they'll probably be champions this year. Kevin Durant, I mean, what can you really say
he's
about
number
him?
one and he's number
one. There's no doubt about it.
No, he's number one on the MVP ladder.
Yeah, like he's already gonna carry the team. James Harden, beginning of the season, fine. You know, he's kind of just adjusting to his new team, but he wasn't getting any calls before. Now he's getting those calls for the fouls that he should be. They're a monster team. They're juggernauts.
Of course. Like, when you have Kevin Durant and James Harden, I'm pretty sure you're definitely going to be something.
Yeah. And with Kyrie Irving kind of out, I feel like it's kind of a blessing in disguise. Because those were three pretty, high usage players. They all need. I mean, Kevin Durant's still a great passer and stuff like that as well. He has.
They were good last year. Just health just got caught up to them.
Yeah,
the biggest opponent was themselves.
But I think with Kyrie Irving out, it kind of gives opportunity for a lot of the other three, starters as well to kind of show themselves. Joe Harris, he's vital.
Patty Mills has been tearing it up. I actually love
Patty Mills. I had him as a streaming option as well in my fantasy league, and kind of regret losing him now because he's been doing great too. Yeah, like he knows exactly what his role is on the team. And I think that's what kind of Lakers need to figure out as well. But he has that. He has that teamwork or team player type of attitude.
But hey, I think I've made an episode. I don't know if you heard it or not. I made an episode on who was the best player in the league, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the conclusion I came was Steph Curry, and I feel pretty good about that. I feel pretty good about that.
There's no
Warriors are 14. The Warriors are 14-2. He's second on MVP ladder, but he should be number one, honestly. The Warriors have been pretty great. Jordan Poole has been playing well. Klay Thompson's not back, but I don't know if he can make a contribution. But
he'll definitely make a contribution.
Well, coming back from 2 years, I just have to see.
Yeah, but I mean, he's Klay Thompson. His role is pretty solidified on the Golden State Warriors. All he has to do is take those threes. He doesn't dribble. I'm pretty sure he had that one game where he didn't dribble at all and he got like a couple threes.
He only
Go
dribbled
like
11 times and got like 50 points or something, right?
yeah, that's crazy. But with the current situation in Golden State right now, the fact that Curry has been able to carry the team to the way that they've been playing right now is pretty impressive and definitely MVP worthy.
Yeah. Also,
Yeah.
I also said Jordan Poole has been playing pretty well, and their chemistry is just great.
Yeah.
Andre Iguodala's back. It's like I don't
Yeah,
like the
Iguodala has
Warriors
been my favorite
as a
player so
Rockets
far.
fan. As a Rockets fan, I don't
Yeah.
like the Warriors, but it's great to see players like the Warriors doing great. It feels
Yeah.
like the old days.
Feels like the
They're
basketball
not like
last
the
season.
powerhouse they used to be, but they're still. I like Steph Curry as a player, so it's great
Yeah.
to see
Yeah,
his
definitely.
team win. But okay, we've been going on for basketball for a pretty long time. I don't know how
Hey,
long
it's a
it
fun
has
topic.
been.
It's an
It is
interesting
a fun
topic.
topic, but another thing we both like is space. And Usher was actually he did an Instagram live stream about an eclipse that was supposed to happen once in a lifetime, but he wasn't able to see it. So
Yeah, okay. So it was a pretty crazy eclipse. So basically, I'm a moon fanatic. I love anything related to the moon. So there was a lunar eclipse that happened just on the 19th on Friday night. And man, I was just so excited. The articles that I read said, it's going to start at 1 o'clock. It's the longest lunar eclipse in history. I was like, okay, you know what? That's perfect. I'm going to go out. So I took my car after my basketball game, took a quick shower, went outside in my shorts. I didn't even care if it was cold or not. Grabbed my flashlight. I just drove out into the open area, somewhere far where there's no lights. It's city lights we're so accustomed to, and it kind of ruins the natural feel of how night should be observe. So yeah, I like to be in my natural state. I got outside, went to the parking lot, and just stared up. Went on live, and unfortunately, because it was the longest eclipse in history, in the 15 centuries or whatever, um, it was long. It was a super long eclipse, and I never got to witness like at least the majority of the action. But around 2 o'clock, I went back out, and you could kind of see the eclipse happening. The moon was a little bit tinted red, and then at 4 o'clock it peaked, where the moon was completely covered. So that was pretty awesome to see. Um, but yeah, no, space is just so vast. There's so much you can
yeah,
talk about, especially with like the generation that we're living in. You have so many different companies, billionaires that are looking into exploring space. There's this race that's going on with China right now as well. Dubai has some sort of program in place. Just a lot of the countries are looking
yeah.
into space as an alternative.
I've been always like a space fanatic. I
Yeah,
always was curious about space. Like I want to go to space personally, right? Of course,
yeah,
you
yeah.
want to as well.
You don't want to?
But I said, of course, you want to as well.
No, but do you? Oh yeah, you
Yeah,
do as
yeah,
well.
yeah. Of
Yeah, yeah,
course.
yeah.
There's this one
Oh man, the
thing.
tickets are cheap. We'll afford it. Don't worry.
No, no, no.
A
Oh,
hundred, a couple hundred grand.
There's this. There's this one thing I actually really like to see it happen for the world. So there's this
Mm,
concept of a space elevator.
yeah, yeah.
So you can enter the space elevator. You can go into space. This next step, you'll see space. Right? It's gonna be a really long process because they don't know because the first time they have to try it is it has to succeed the first time because
Yeah.
they'll have to have this tether that brings you down from Earth to space, and if the tether breaks, it's gonna be alongside the Earth's orbit, and then that's gonna ruin a lot of space missions because the tether might like interfere with that.
Mhm.
So then we might not go to
I don't know
space after that
if it's
happens.
a feasible idea either, because think about it, if it's going to go all the way into space, there's so many orbits that are out there as well, satellites, that it's going to probably disrupt.
Yeah.
There's always going to be that fear of collision when you're up that high, and just in general, I don't know if space elevator is going to be something that like who would own it? Like America, I guess, because they have most of the billionaires or whatever.
Well, like,
Um,
what does
NASA,
SpaceX make? Does SpaceX make it? Does Blue
SpaceX.
Origin make it? Does Relativity make it? Who knows?
Yeah, Jeff Bezos was pretty cheesed when NASA decided to go with SpaceX for one of their missions.
Yeah.
He sued the entire thing, man. That's this entire space race that's going on. It's the next big thing, and you can expect in this generation that we're living in, especially, that it's gonna be accomplished, definitely.
So okay, so
But
I saw the movie Interstellar recently. It's a really great movie.
oh wow,
If you
yeah,
haven't
definitely.
seen it, like I don't know what you're doing with your life, so you should go and watch it. But with Interstellar, it begged me the question, because in the you saw the movie, right? It said,
Oh yeah.
okay, we don't like the teachers were saying, oh, we don't need space exploration, we don't need engineers, we want more farmers because the Earth is inhabitable at this point.
Yeah.
So how do you think? What? So do you think space exploration? I probably know your answer to this, but do you think space exploration is necessary when we have a lot of problems on Earth?
So okay, I was actually reading into this article about
I'm actually
decarbonization.
I'm actually gonna write an article about why more money should be spent on space exploration.
Oh,
So
awesome. So it's great that we're talking about it.
exactly,
Yeah,
you'll
I
hear a
think,
good preview of it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you've probably done your research as well, and you have some sort of idea why space exploration is kind of necessary in this day and age. Even with the way that the Earth is, climate change, greenhouse gases, it's affecting our livelihood. That's why there's so much, I guess, push for electrification, decarbonization, and one of the biggest things, I think, that they're focusing on right now on Earth is using clean energy sources, right? Which is
Solar
hybrid
energy, yeah,
cars, solar, even uranium. And I think uranium is one of those things that, well, even currently right now, I think 1 in 5 American households are powered through uranium or nuclear
yeah,
energy, which is
yeah.
pretty clean energy source. But even then, those 4 out of 5 are not as clean as we want it to be. So there's always going to be that hindrance, and that struggle to really clean up Earth, especially with the ozone layer already depleting. Now that's why space exploration is essential, because if we don't start it now, or if we don't get to space and find um, a habitable planet for our next couple of generations, then we're going to come into that situation in Interstellar where the requirements are, you need to be a farmer just to stay alive and keep the crops and everything steady. But then at that point, everybody else on Earth is going to be kind of focused. You see all these movies with those scientific ideas, and it's kind of crazy to think that those movies are becoming kind of reality right now. We're living that. Um, yeah, I mean that's just in my opinion. I feel like space exploration is definitely essential in this day and age.
So for me, I'm gonna start off by just saying humans are curious, right?
Hmm.
So let's just say, there's this quote by Abraham Lincoln. He says the best way to predict. Oh man, I can't speak. The best way to predict the future is to create it, and
Hmm.
explains how the future is just based on our actions and how curiosity is the key. And it can lead to
Right.
many different, like there's a lot of emerging technologies nowadays like blockchain, AI,
Yeah. Yeah.
regenerative medicine, even space exploration is one of them. So, but let's say, remember, have you seen Back to the Future?
I have not. Okay, that's crazy. I know I haven't seen Back to the Future, unfortunately. So I
Okay,
have to watch it.
so in Back to the Future 2, they went to the future, and
Mm.
it was the year 2015. It was year 2015, but at the end, that movie was made in the 80s. So this was their picture of 2015. And 2015 was like this super technological world where there would be flying cars, they'd be like these
Mm.
hoverboards, and there'll be like these holograms everywhere. But when we look at actual 2015, that was like 6 years ago, right? I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I was like, I was like 12 or something, and you were, I don't know how old you were, but 2015 wasn't like that.
No, but it was somewhat close. We had those concepts definitely in place, right? Holograms was a huge thing around that time. Somebody did a concert with a hologram. Who was it? I can't remember.
Travis Scott with the apology.
Did he actually do it? Was that him?
No, it wasn't. I don't know. I
Oh,
just
you're
know
talking
from
about
his
the.
I'm talking about the
Yeah, yeah,
apology.
yeah. No, that apology was pretty. I don't know.
It's funny.
What's your take on that? I don't know. It's not related to
Okay,
our space
so a
conversation,
lot
but
of people have been canceling Travis Scott because 8 people died from his
yeah, yeah.
concert. The thing is, I was never a huge Travis Scott fan to begin with. Like he does have good music, but I was not a huge fan of him to begin with. So I just have mixed feelings about that. What do you think? I know a lot of people that are like these Travis fanatics, and they're not canceling him. They're like, no, he makes good music.
To be honest, I had not followed this story at all. I mean, I'm not a big music guy, or I don't really go to concerts and stuff like that. I just think it's just like, you can enjoy the music where you are, or if anything, it's an experience which I kind of understand. But in general, yeah, the entire situation where those unfortunate people had died. Um, how did he even like what was the cause for it exactly? Didn't somebody say there was like somebody like drugging them during the concert, or
Yeah, I don't know what it actually was, but I think someone was drugging them during
yeah,
the
so I mean,
concert,
it's
and then
not
just
exactly Travis Scott's fault, right?
yeah.
Obviously, he's the one organizing the concert. It's his platform to really sing and just be himself. But it wasn't his fault, um, per se, that those people had died. Obviously, just the circumstances. It's unfortunate. Um,
So
but yeah,
yeah.
I don't
So
I don't
back
really
on to
have
my point.
that much opinion
Yeah. So
on
back
that.
on to my point. So the reason why I brought up Back to the Future is because it just
Mhm.
shows the curiosity of how humans think the future will be. So when we look at like thousands of years ago, like let's say in
Mhm.
history, like like if you were to ask what was next for humanity, there would probably be no clear answer. And then once civilizations came into place, that's when all these different ideas came because we've had many human innovators, advisors. So think of Alexander Graham Bell. Like
Mhm.
back for so long, people were wondering, okay, how can we communicate with others just based on sound waves, and can we do it with a wire or not? And in the 1800s, that's when the telephone was invented.
Mhm.
And then later on, telephones became cell phones, and then cell phones became smartphones. I have a
In a
smartphone.
rapid amount of time in a short couple of
Exactly.
years. Yeah.
And the thing is, like, I've only had a cell phone for like a smartphone for like a couple of years, but now I'm thinking, how the hell did I survive without this?
Right? Yeah, it's
Yeah,
crazy. Yeah, I mean, I got my first phone back in high school as well, and those were, those really old Samsung phones which had like a
yeah,
keyboard and stuff
the
on it.
keyboard
Well,
and
well,
like that.
BlackBerry was more common, but I got the Samsung. And all I used it for was literally the calendar, and that was it. I didn't even have a SIM card in it. That was all I used my cell phone for. Um, then iPhones came out, and it was just a crazy growth from there on out. And it's similar to all technology. I think in the first 1900s, you could kind of say like space exploration or even like flight. It's just from there to what we have now in terms of technology has definitely had a exponential growth in those couple of years. Um, and you're right, curiosity is definitely one of those things that pushes us forward to really discover more and find our true potential. Or yeah, I mean that's definitely something that we're all going to be trying to strive for, right? What we can achieve or what we can kind of see the future to be. I don't know.
Leading on to my point. So one quote in Interstellar was, "They didn't bring us here to change the past." That just was like, they didn't bring us here to change the past, and it showed. And you remember that scene where he went inside that black hole, and then he was communicating
The
through his daughter
books,
from
yeah.
that. Yeah, the books.
Hmm.
So then it just got me thinking, like, okay, maybe if you went, since we are so curious, and then we all have this drive towards something, it can definitely lead to great results. And then at the end of the movie, Cooper Station became a thing, and then they were able to live in this habitable, like, space station, right?
Hmm.
So I'm thinking, when space exploration is necessary, because when we look at how curious we were, and then how curious we can be, and how it can lead to great things, it's definitely something to consider. Space exploration.
Yeah, and I think circumstances also have a huge impact or into our decisions as well. If you think about it, the without if we were all there was no greenhouse effect or any sort of like climate change or anything like that, I don't think that conversation of space exploration would be as heavily invested in as it is now. But because we kind of have this global timeline or time clock, you could say, that's just counting down how many years we have left on Earth to survive. That's really pushing the exploration and the race to find a new habitable place for our next generation. So curiosity mixed with
Technology.
unfortunate circumstances and situations definitely is a drive for this type of endeavor.
Okay, so in the beginning of this podcast, we started talking about the haunted house experiment, the haunted house
Oh yeah.
experience. So, do you have any thoughts on that?
That haunted house was I mean I've been a couple haunted houses, but that one was pretty interesting. It was more so like a maze kind of, where you're walking through a house, and there were some live actors as well that were playing their roles as zombies or just scary figures. I am gonna admit it to everybody here that I am a pretty big scaredy cat, and Haris and I you were in the back with me too. Okay, don't lie. we were
You
pretty
know
much,
that's cap.
yeah, we were pretty much as scared that
You
our
know that's cap. I was not scared at all. I was at the front. I was
oh
always at the
yeah,
front. How
okay,
do you not remember?
I'm pretty sure it was you and me in the
It was
back.
not me. It was not me.
Okay, I was jumping on somebody. I thought it was you. But no, that was a great experience. I mean, I love getting scared and watching scary stuff. I'm pretty adventurous in that sense. I play this game called Randonautica as well, where you kind of just go out and
Yeah,
explore. We played that a couple times. I don't know if you play that, but um,
I don't. I'm
it's
not a rich gamer here.
it's not a gamer. It's more of like an adventure app where you kind of
Oh,
just put
okay,
in your
okay.
coordinates, and then you think of something. The app magically thinks of coordinates of whatever you're thinking, and it takes you there. So I've had some crazy experiences about that, and I mean, some of my friends can kind of share their take on it when they were with me as well. But in general, yeah, that haunted house is a great experience. We should definitely do it again.
It was a great experience, but Usher's lying when he said I was in the back with him. No, I was always leading the way. But it was funny because we
Yeah, but
had
you know what? I think the leader is always leader kind of knows what's coming, so he's always there to just, I don't know.
I was there to
I think the
comfort you. I'm
people in
like,
the
yeah,
back,
it's fine. Come here, come here, come here.
yeah, and then the back we get even more scared for some reason. I don't
Yeah,
know.
there was this one where we were up the stairs and then this real life actor was just staring at all of us. And she was trying to open the
And
door.
I
She was
had no
staring at
idea
all
if it
of
was
us.
real or not. Yeah.
No, no, no. I knew she was real because I saw her walking down this. I saw her walking down the stairs because I was at the front, so I saw her
So you
walking
were
down
the
the
front.
stairs.
Yeah. So I didn't see that part. And she was just standing there, right? And I
Just
just thought it was
staring.
like a fake like statue or some sort of like figurine.
Then she
But
moved
then
her
the
eyes.
moment she did like her, jump scare at me, and I was like, what the hell, man?
There's
I
this
got
one guy. He was like on a bed and he was holding a knife. And then
yeah, I didn't know that
you
was real
thought,
either.
yeah, but and then he looked at you and then it was pretty funny.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my God. That's I guess being in the back has its perks. You get more of the action and you're not sure of what's real, what's not real, because then they all settle in when they're at the front. When you're at the front, you kind of see the transition from when they scare the first group and then they're coming back to scare the next one.
It was fun. No, because it was funny, right? In the beginning, like when we first started, I'm like, okay, I'll lead the way. And then I
Yeah, yeah.
entered this like dark thing. I'm like, wait, why aren't there any lights? Like, how am I supposed to see where I'm going? And then,
Yeah, yeah,
and then this like light. It is funny because I walked past something, and then it scared the people that were behind me. Like you remember the light? Remember those lights?
yeah. With the laser lights, right?
Yeah, those laser lights
Yeah.
where like the random guy would just pop up and go, like something like that. Yeah, I walked past that and I thought nothing of it. I'm like, man, who turned off the lights? And then that turned on the lights for me, but it didn't scare me because it was for the
Oh
people
my
behind me.
God.
And it was funny
Lucky guy.
because and it was funny because after like a few rounds, we said to the girls that are with us, like, oh yeah, you guys go in front of us. We're gonna be in the back. We're gonna be in the back. And then we lost them for like a good like 5 minutes.
I think we just slowed down a lot because we wanted them to just
Yeah.
experience it and not affect the way. Because yeah, they had the transition time, right? All the actors, whenever they scared the first crowd, or like the crowd before us, then they have to come back and just and then settle down at their original station, and then they scare the
Yeah.
next people. So that's why you kind of want to keep it a good pace between the first group, and the second group. So that's why we kind of slowed down a bit,
Yeah,
and
the
we
real
lost
life
them.
actors, like I give my respects to them because if I were in that situation, I'd just laugh. Like I wouldn't keep a straight face.
I'm sure because it's dark, they're probably laughing underneath their masks, or most of them were wearing makeup only. But yeah.
Yeah.
I guess they probably have their own enjoyment.
That was a really great experience. Just I haven't really been to a haunted house ever in my life, so like that was like the
Oh
first
yeah.
time.
Okay. Well, we'll go to Casa Loma one next. That's a long. That's a really long one, and their haunted house. So it's more of like a haunted castle because it's Casa Loma downtown,
Mm,
and it's and they decorate like the heck out of it. It's so much fun. It's crazy.
yeah.
Well, we'll go to that one next. But
No,
I mean, those
whoever you want
actors
to go.
are.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
what were you
yeah.
saying?
I'm just saying those actors, they put their life on the line. Because imagine somebody that's pretty aggressive or whatever, and they see something like that, a jump scare, and they just punch them. I, I feel like there's probably been incidents like that for sure.
Probably.
Yeah.
There might be like incidents where the actors accidentally like touch the person, and it's like, oh wow,
Yeah.
you like they'll probably like not sue them, but
Well, yeah. No, I'm sure. Especially like the haunted what do they call it at Wonderland?
the haunted Wonderland. What?
No, no, at Wonderland, what do they do on October in October for Halloween?
I've never
Halloween
been to
haunt.
Canada's
That's what they
Wonderland
call it. You've never been ever?
in no in the fall.
Oh, in Halloween. Okay, okay.
Yeah, in Halloween.
Yeah, they have this thing called Halloween Haunt where they have live actors as well. I've never been myself, but like at night they have live actors just roaming around the entire playground, right?
One time I
Park.
did go to Canada's Wonderland, right? It was a school field trip.
Yeah, like a
Yeah,
physics
so
one.
no, not a physics one. It
It's
was
just
just
like
a
a.
school field trip.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
it was a choir trip. I was a part of a choir in like grade 7.
Oh yeah, I did one of those as well. Yeah,
Yeah, but
those are pretty
we had to
fun.
go to we had to go to Canada's Wonderland. So, well,
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
at this vending machine. I wanted a Sprite. So then I put the money for a Sprite, and
yeah.
then I'm not kidding. A lot of Sprite just I only went for one Sprite, but literally all of the Sprites that were in the vending machine came out.
Oh my God, so what'd you
Yeah,
do?
I just picked up one by one, put it in a bag, and then I just kept it all to myself. I love Sprite.
Are you
I
sure
wish I
you
didn't
not?
get that.
Are you sure you didn't actually put in like a 20 or something?
No, I've only put like $1, I think, and then like literally
Oh,
all the Sprites that were in the vending machine came out, and then at one point the vending machine got stuck because of the amount of Sprites that came out.
oh my God,
Like
they
I didn't
probably
have
like
all of them.
hurry up.
I only got like 5 or 6 because
Yeah,
I only got those out until the entire thing was just flooded with Sprite.
the vending machine guy's like, what the heck? Where did all the Sprite go? I just filled it in
Yeah.
this morning. And back in the day, $1 for a Sprite. I don't think that's possible at Wonderland, especially. It's probably like
No,
$2.
it's a vending machine, right? So it could be.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know. I think
It
they've
wasn't
increased.
that long ago. It was only 4 years ago. Actually, well, a lot can
Oh
change in
yeah,
four
yeah.
years.
4 years actually.
Yeah, a
Not
lot
that
can
long
change in
ago.
4 years, like the house prices, right? In Toronto.
Yeah, yeah. No, inflation's been crazy, man. It's been pretty bad. If you think at gas prices, man, that's insane.
Yeah, I remember when sometimes it was cheap, but
Cheap.
I don't drive.
What is that for gas? Yeah, you have Hashim to worry about. You don't even have to worry.
Well, I don't know. Well, I do the gas in general, so like,
Wait, do you drive?
yeah.
Oh, okay,
But like,
okay.
I don't pay for gas.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You lucky guy. Just wait till you have to.
Wait till I have
Hopefully by
to.
then we'll be in space and don't need to drive anywhere. Just float around. Anyways,
We'll just float around, and then we'll have to worry about instead of space gas, we'll just do like the gravity. So you have to fill up the gravity for your vehicle.
yeah, that'd be pretty sick. I'd be down for that. We had to do skydiving because when they go skydiving they actually have to do like a little maneuver at the top when they're I think just about to do the drop. They do like a little maneuver where you're kind of floating midair for a bit inside the plane, so that's like you kind of feel like weightlessness. That's a pretty good experience. And skydiving in
Yeah.
general, I want to experience that.
Yeah. So okay. So on the topic of haunted houses, let's go on the brighter side of things.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be a kind of a religious thing, but I'm gonna ask you
Mhm.
this one question:
Sure.
which Islamic figure do you look as your like, kind of your role model, the one you look up to, apart from the obvious answer?
Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Yeah, apart from that.
Yeah, no, that's obviously a lot of the Muslims. We definitely say our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam because his life was an exemplary. You know, he kind of created entire syllabus or entire lifestyle for us to follow. And I don't think there's any greater example of his life that we can, kind of take into effect. But another, I think, I would say Sahaba or Sahabia that was essential in our current day and age, especially just the way Islam is right now, would be Aisha radiallahu anha. She was a scholar, she was a teacher, she was also the mother of all Muslims. Like, mashallah, the way she has inspired a lot of the women in this day and age, and especially a lot of the men as well, to be, more open, understanding, and the learnings that we can get from her teachings as well, and the way that she followed the Prophet Muhammad is kind of essential to what we know for ourselves. And a lot of the hadith books are kind of all related to what she has kind of taught all the other Sahabas as well during that time. So her contribution is very essential to Islam, right? And her lifestyle and her example, not just as like the wife of the Prophet Muhammad, but also as like a teacher and an educator, is something that we should all look up to. And I think I look up to her the most as well in that sense, because she kind of reminds me of, or at least my mom is somewhat similar in that sense, where she's an educator. She's also a contributor in this society, not just being, somebody in school and teaching and stuff like that, but she's also there participating with the community, making changes, going to different schools and hospitals and volunteering. And I think that's something that's that I really look up to her. Obviously, she's my own mother, but some of the things that she does kind of reminds me of how Aisha radiallahu anha lived as well. So yeah.
That's a really great answer. That's a really great answer. But for me, it's kind of an unpopular opinion. I don't know if you know the Sahaba, but his name is Abdul Rahman ibn Auf, radiallahu ta'ala. Yeah. So the reason why he's my favorite, because his story is just very interesting. Mm-hmm. He had so much. He was one of the early converts of Islam because he was very wealthy amongst one of the people. His name was, I believe, his name was actually my name, like I had it. Yeah. But then the Prophet changed it to Abdul Rahman ibn Auf. So, so he had a lot of wealth. And then once when the Muslims had to migrate from Mecca to Medina, they said to him, don't bring your wealth along because that can ruin our economy. And that's how much wealth he had. His wealth was so much that it can ruin their economy. So he said, okay, fine, I'll start from zero. So he goes to Medina, and then you know how in that, not in the rule, but the Prophet ﷺ did advise some of the Mecca Sahabas to live with like the Medina Sahabas. So like that grouping. So like one Mecca, so that they can adjust to living in Medina. Yeah. So then he had one guy, and then he said, okay, I have 2 wives. I'll marry one of them to you, or you can marry one of them. I have a business. You can get half of my earnings, and then I can get half of mine. But then he just said, no, I don't want any of that. Just show me where the marketplace is, and that's where I'll start. And then literally like not long after that, he had so much wealth, and then he had like makeup on his face. The Prophet saw that. He went to him, like, are you getting married? He said, yeah, I'm getting married. And then he says, oh, you should have a walima with the amount of money you have.
Wow.
And then and he always made money he always spent his money and used his money for a great cause. He never used his money just to show it, because he didn't really care how much money he had, because we saw in Mecca he had enough money that it changed the economy in Mecca. But he said, like, no, I don't want that. I want to just do something for my own good. That's something I just want to see. That's just something I admire, because with the amount of money you had, like, I don't know if I would have done that.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. If you had that much money just to let it go for
nothing, and then you start from zero, and then you become a rich again.
I guess you kind of have that. You have the confidence, right? Especially if you're that wealthy, you kind of you've built that brand, and other people are gonna look up to you in that sense, and you're gonna have.
That's why for me, right? Like that's why I'm gonna transition over to like how to have a great mindset. So because when you let's say you have like 6 millionaires, right, and you lock them in a closet, the chances for them to there's a chance they can get that million again, and it's because they know the tools and the skills to build their infrastructure to get the $1 million again. So
right.
So what do you think is like a great mindset
and failures? Yeah.
So especially when you're at that stage in life.
I think, well, definitely a great mindset. There's a question that's always asked, like if you were like how big would you be able to dream if you knew you couldn't fail? I think that's something that I think I heard that somewhere online as well. But I think the biggest thing is that's objectively stopping us as ourselves. If you don't have that drive or that passion, or you don't have that creativity, like you mentioned, to continue growth and self-development, that's going to stop your own, drive to actually be successful. So in that sense, what is a great mindset to have is to be a warrior. Just always be ready to um, tackle any sort of situation, no matter what you have. And I think there's a saying from one of the podcasts I was listening to from Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson, the professor at UFT. He said, Joe Rogan said that be a warrior in a garden rather than a gardener in a warrior in a war. So if you think
Makes
about it,
sense.
that's kind of like the competitive nature of us human beings. If you kind of sideline that away and you're just a person that's sitting in the back seat, you don't really care about anything. You let things flow as it comes, or you believe in that, fate. Well, fate obviously is part of our belief as well, that everything is kind of predestined. But if you don't have that drive to go for it yourself, or you don't believe in your own abilities and your confidence, then that competitiveness is just become passive, and you're not going to really go anywhere in life. And as a mindset to have in this day and age, I think it's important to really be competitive, be a warrior, be a little bit aggressive in your approach in life. But you don't want to take it to that level where it becomes like a fine line between your competitiveness kind of breeds into a little bit of envy or jealousy or something like that, where you start competing or comparing yourself to other people. You want to have that mindset that you're just comparing yourself, and that's just, I'm going to be trying to continuously improve and become better. And couple ways to do that is definitely always be in that mindset of learning. You never want to stop learning. You always want to continuously be curious. Like you mentioned in the beginning of our podcast, that curiosity is how you kind of develop, right? Without learning and without being curious, how are you really gonna pursue what
You read my
feel?
newsletter, right? I
Yeah,
said
yeah,
like
yeah.
curiosity is like who I define myself, right?
Yeah. That's definitely the most important thing, I think. When you have that pursuit of, it's on my, it's funny because it's on my Instagram profile as well. Pursuit of wonder is what I write. You're
Yeah.
always pursuing something that's out there. That's something that you don't really, that you don't know about, and you're just learning about it. That's all I really care about in my life as well. Where if there's something I don't know, I want to know about it because it's new. It's something interesting. It's just curiosity, like you mentioned. um, and to learn from other people is, I think, one of the best ways, because other people, like you mentioned, those group of 6 people that are millionaires, and if they had nothing, they had to start again. How else are you going to learn within those group of people if you don't network? You kind of learn their failures, you learn their successes, and you kind of apply that into your own life, right?
I
um,
agree.
that
Networking
kind of
is
leads,
really important.
yeah, I think that kind of also leads a little bit into, uh, with a mindset like that, you kind of also need to have a little bit of contentment, or be content with the things that you already have, and not feel like what I want to achieve in the future is, that's just your goal. You want to be a little bit satisfied and happy with the things you have. Be grateful, essentially, because
I
otherwise
think
you're just going to continue striving. You're just going to well, striving is not a bad thing, but you're just going to continue like struggling and feel like you don't have enough. You don't have enough, and you need to continue getting more and more. Being satisfied with what you have is definitely a part of our own faith as well, and not to feel that, um, yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
so. The you know how I'm a part of the knowledge society, right?
Hmm.
Things they have taught me are, I'll just say three things. Okay. All right, four. So curiosity was definitely one of them.
Hmm.
Appreciation, boss mentality, and how networking is really important. So
Wow, yeah.
so
So
with
that
the
covers everything.
mindset,
Yeah.
yeah, so with the mindset, it just shows you have the desire, the passion, the optimism, is saying like how to always stay positive and just always think that you're the only one that can make change for yourself. You're the one to create things and you have the
Mhm.
tools to do it. And that leads
Yeah.
to boss mentality, which does not mean like be arrogant or be selfish and everything. It just means
Mhm.
you're always there to learn. You're never there to always to teach. You're there to teach others too, but you're always there to learn. Like even when you're teaching others, it's a learning experience of your own.
Yeah, as a leader, you don't want to be somebody that's just pointing fingers and telling others to do something. You want to also learn from their,
Mm-hmm.
what they're experiencing. And when you learn about other people, you're able to kind of apply yourself in those situations, kind of like perseverance, right? We're
Yeah.
able to understand what they're going through and then find a better strategy to help them out to become successful.
and with
And as a
and
boss
with
leader, that's something
appreciation, yeah, and with appreciation, it's always thinking, okay, you're alive, you're more not successful, you're in a better state than most of the world, you have a
Mhm.
bright future, and you're alive, so just make the best out of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Like gratefulness that I was talking about as well. Like you don't feel that competitive, that drive that you have shouldn't affect your contentment and your satisfaction in life because whatever you have right now is definitely more than what, like you mentioned, what other people have,
and
and you should always be grateful for that.
and with networking, right, it
Mhm.
really depends on your own character. You have to be very likable so that people can understand saying, I would want to work with this guy in the future, or like,
Mhm.
I would want this guy on my team. Like it's more when you have the likability, your networking will become a lot easier because a lot of people want to reach out to you rather than the opposite. And there
Yeah.
could be many opportunities
Likability,
leading there,
likability, I think also combined with knowledge as well. Because if you're a likable person, that's great. People will definitely like you, but you won't be respected in the group
unless you have the
unless
knowledge.
you have
Yeah.
knowledge. So you
Mhm.
definitely need to combine knowledge, understanding, um, and communication is essential as well, especially if you want to grow. If you're not able to communicate your thoughts and your plan of action, your scope of work or whatever, if you're not able to communicate and relay that information, no matter how likable you are on the team, you won't be respected enough for those decisions to really make a
I
difference.
think skill and knowledge is a need, but it's not like the
Mm-hmm.
best. It's not the number one. I feel like the mindset is the number one thing that
Mm.
continues the drive. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely
And with the
mindset.
drive, you'll
But
have the knowledge. With drive, you'll get more knowledge than as much as you want.
yeah, yeah, 100%. It's the
Yeah.
drive is pretty much the key thing that pushes everybody forward to get learn more, to do more, and grow more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's funny because I actually had a talk like this like a few days ago. I was speaking to a bunch of people about this.
Hmm.
Mhm. Yeah.
So one thing I kind of recall when I was working in Vancouver at Ledcor, my boss actually mentioned something to me. He was like, "Don't ever get comfortable in your current situation." He said something like that. The moment you become comfortable is the moment you stop growing, and that kind of stuck
Mm.
with me throughout my life because I've noticed when you become comfortable, you kind of lay back, you relax a little bit. You feel like, okay, I've kind of made it. But that's exactly the moment that you should be scared of because if you become comfortable in your life, you're gonna have that feeling that what, I'm gonna just relax. I'm gonna take it backseat and just enjoy whatever I have now. But then at that point, you kind of your drive is gone. Your potential to really
Yeah,
be who
true.
you want to be is pretty much just gone. So always strive for more. Always be looking for the next big thing, and just continue to be happy with uncomfortable situations. Put yourself out there. Get yourself in situations where not like obviously you don't want to put yourself in harmful situations, but definitely where you are challenging yourself. And that's definitely a mindset that I kind of continue to live by day by day.
Okay, that's great. That's really great. And we're kind of having we've been at this for a very long time. I would like to
Oh
end it
yeah, I'm
now,
thirsty.
unless you want to, yeah, unless you want to talk about more things, but let's wrap and give this a wrap. Oh, you're thirsty? Yo, I have water like right here, yo.
Yo, send it
Yeah, we
over,
could.
man. We need to get this teleportation thing going too. Like,
I just
has
throw it at the
anybody done
camera and then
anything?
you catch it.
It
It's
just
like
appears right in my
perfect.
hand. Inshallah, one day we'll get to that. Or if
All
not
right.
here, then world, then in general.
So
Okay.
yeah, so we're gonna wrap things up. And if you really like this episode, make sure you give it a like or share it, who knows. And Usher and I will probably try to promote this too, but who knows? As well
Yeah,
as
no, definitely. I think one thing I do want to say is shout out to Hardest, like my man. This guy has impressed me continuously ever since I met
thank
him
you,
the first day.
thank you,
He's mashallah has been a great friend nonetheless, and he's also been an inspiration not just to myself, but I know a lot of the people that I talk to as well. And I tell them, hey, this is a high school kid that's doing podcasts. He's running articles. He's part of so many big, amazing groups. I love you, man, and keep doing what you're doing. And I'm
it's
proud
like
of all
father
the
like
things that
son,
you
yo. You're my
accomplished.
father, so I'm your son. It's like father like son. Don't worry.
You got to give encouragement. I know you. One thing that I've also learned is recognition is due to people that are actually making a difference. And I feel like you're one of those people.
Thank you,
If not in a big scale yet, but definitely you'll be one of those people in the future,
thank
inshallah.
you. And
Yeah.
Usher will also be along with the ride too. He will be a great
I'll be
mentor
the
for
supporter.
many. He'll be a great mentor for many others. If you don't, if you want advice, go to Usher. Yeah, like his IG. I'll put in the comment. I don't know. I'll put in the description. Who knows? But or he can say his IG right now. Usher, was it Usher underscore Usher too?
Yeah, you got it right. Damn, I forgot what mine was too.
I don't know. I message this guy a lot, so it's like the first thing I see all the time.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
But okay, yeah. Since we are about to give this a wrap, and
Mhm.
Usher, thank you for being on the All Facts podcast. Do you have anything to
Thank
say
you.
before we
Honor
go?
is mine. No, I'm just humbled that you had given me an opportunity to talk and discuss things with you. It was just like a regular conversation that we have on a regular basis, and I enjoyed my time talking to you. And we'll definitely have a lot more in the future. Everybody, subscribe to
If
Harsh's
everyone,
channel.
if everyone wants Usher as a guest again, make sure you probably give. I don't know if you're watching on YouTube, give likes. Or if you're watching on Spotify, send a message. Send a message on Anchor so I can understand. Or if you also want to send a message on Anchor, send a message on what you want me specifically to talk about for the
Mm,
podcast. So this is the All Facts podcast. I'm Harsh Sakar, and we're out. Peace.
peace.